Welcome to this Maths Heroes video. My name's Christine. Today I'm going to look at time because it's actually one of these bugbear topics that I have. The Australian Open used to show the time incorrectly. It took me 3 years for them to actually get it right. So it's one of those things, it is actually tricky for students to see. So time is base 60 and up until, they've been doing lots on counting in tens and so on, but all of a sudden 1 unit is 60. So it might be 60 minutes, it might be 60 seconds. Have a look at your microwave and see what happens when you press 1 minute. So when it starts at 1 minute, the next number that it counts backwards to is actually 59. So that's the base 60ness of, when it gets to 59, it kicks over to 1. So with my multiplicative thinking blocks, I've got them the coloured side up just to show you really clearly that 60, and if I've got half of it, 30 minutes, so that's 3 tens that I've got here, right? That is half. So 30 minutes, 30 seconds is half an hour or half a minute. Likewise, if I've got 15 minutes, you can see there that 1, 2, 3 and the 4, that is a quarter of an hour, and you can actually picture 3 lots of 5 minutes ticking by, that would be a quarter. If I was talking about 20 minutes, so here I've got 20 minutes, 20 seconds, it's actually 1/3 of an hour because I can do 2, 3 in my 1 unit. So 20 minutes is 1/3 of an hour. If I had 40 minutes, so 4 tens, 40 minutes, there's the 4 tens. 4 tens, 40 minutes, that is 2/3 of an hour because I've got that 1/3 left over. If I was working out the duration of an event, so for instance, if I had 240 minutes, so let me flick this over. So here is 100 minutes. Here is 200 minutes. And as I go, I'll just move this one across and I'll bring in the last 40 as well. So here is my unit of 60 minutes or 60 seconds. And I will count 1. The next 60, this is 100, this is 110, 120. So the next block of 60 will actually take up to 120. So that's my first 2 hours done. Now let's look at the next block of time. So I'm at 120. So this would make 240 because I've already done the 100. So I'm at 120. My next block will take me to 180. So there's 3 hours. And that last block, so from 180 to 240, is another full unit of 60 minutes. So that's 3 hours. If I was saying 270 minutes or 270 seconds, I would have counted 1 for the first 60, then to 120. Then I would go to 180. And next one would be 240, which we've already done. And then I've got these last remaining 30 minutes left over. So you can see that 270 minutes is 3.5 hours. It's 3 full units of 60 minutes and then the 30 minutes that's left over. Why is this important? Because I've had students who have done recording of time for their driver's license things and so on. But when you see things that are written like this was the particular tennis example of how long the tennis players were on the court. They were on the court for 3 hours and 25 minutes. And I went back and I said, well, then you can't write it like 3 with a decimal point and then 25. Because, as you remember, what's a quarter of an hour? A quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. A quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. So if I wanted to say 3 1/4 hours, I would say 3 hours and 15 minutes. That's the difference between the decimal point and this colon, which represents base 60. So this is 3 hours and 25 minutes. 3 hours, 25 minutes. This is 3 1/4 hours. If you do timesheets, if you work in payroll, all that sort of stuff, this distinction is critically important. So when you see the National Australian Broadcasting Service write down that they do the 7:30 report, and you write to them and you say, it's not actually the 7.30 report, because 0.3 of an hour, 0.3 of an hour, well, if I was to break up 60 minutes into 10 pieces, each piece would be 6 minutes. So 1/10 of an hour is 6 minutes. If you have an accountant or anything with legal, you'll know that that's how they charge, by the 0.1 of an hour, 1/10 of an hour. So 0.3, 3/10 of an hour is actually 6 multiplied by 3 minutes. Oh, can't spell minutes. Let's try that again. Minutes. So it's not actually the 7:18 report, because they play it at 7:30 at night. But what I'm saying is, this decimal point or a colon to show a signify base 60 is an important distinction, and one that we need to remember. And it's a bit of a thing like when you challenge students to look for mistakes with apostrophes. Once you start looking for these, it'll be on the time that shops are open. It'll be, on the mailbox that says, when it will be picked up. There are so many examples of how this is misunderstood that it's actually really, really interesting. I hope you found this video interesting, made you think, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Oh, and remember, everybody's a maths hero.